welcome back to another episode of the Chaos Chronicles.
Navigating the randomness.
I'm Jess.
I'm Connie.
And this week we're going to be talking about weddings versus eloping.
Yes, and this is a topic that we have talked about doing a podcast on forever.
Long time. Long time for sure.
Yeah, and we mentioned in our first episode,
I believe so, yeah.
that we had been each honor's maid and matron of honor for our weddings.
Mm-hmm.
So we have seen both the elopement side and the wedding side, and we have opinions on it. And so does Ruby.
She has lots of opinions.
Very much. Girl, you tell him. You were involved in the wedding. You were the flower girl.
I made her a faux flower collar, and it turned out beautiful. I still have it. Trying to figure out what to do with it.
Oh, that could be preserved with your wedding dress. Like if you want to have like a box. Well, I don't know if you could get it. Well, maybe. You can add up to 5 accessories on those wedding preservation kits.
Huh. Maybe.
Look.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. But yeah, it was really cute. Ruby looked amazing. Yeah, you were such a photographic dog. Photogenic.
Yeah. No one would have ever known that. Was it a month? Yeah, basically a month prior to that point, she was in the ICU.
Mm-hmm. It was a lot. But there was a lot with your elopement overall. I mean,
yeah.
We joked about how you had a 2-week engagement. I had a 2-year engagement.
Yeah.
Which, let me tell you, if you're going to do one or the other, do the 2-week, not the 2-year.
2 weeks was plenty of time for me. I think I told you many times. Any longer, I wouldn't have been happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2 years was rough.
Yeah. So, just kind of backing it up a little bit, when my husband proposed to me, we didn't tell anybody. She's the only one that knew. I was in school, so obviously my classmates knew. But people that knew me personally for a long time, you were the only one that knew that we were engaged.
And my mom and my sisters.
Oh, and your mom and your sisters, obviously. And then anyone else that was involved directly with the wedding.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they kept it very much on the down low. And you guys had talked about getting married. And so this wasn't like completely out of left field.
No.
Knew it was coming. So you had already started looking at dresses a little bit online, which was honestly the smart thing to do.
It was the most risky thing to do. You're getting a wedding dress from an online store. I read reviews, made sure that it wasn't a scam place, because there's a bunch of those out there.
Yeah. Oh my god, yes.
It's insane.
Not even just for wedding dresses, like anything wedding related. There are so many scam sites.
Mm-hmm.
So many of them. So you really gotta dig. But thankfully, you found a really good site.
Yeah, I found an amazing site. And honestly, super cheap. Super affordable.
Yeah.
And such amazing quality.
It was amazing. The funny thing is, so I was already engaged when Jess got married.
Mm-hmm.
So we had already done wedding dress shopping for me.
Yeah.
And the crazy part was I tried on a dress in a boutique that was pretty much the exact same dress that Jess got.
Yeah.
Oh, there was over $1,000 price discrepancy for the same dress.
Yeah, which just blows my mind. And so that dress also, I don't know if I ever told you, I had it pinned on Pinterest for 2+ years. I was like, yep, this is going to be my inspo pic that I show people or whatever. I found that exact same dress online. I was like, okay.
That's a sign.
We're going to get that one.
And it came in great. I mean, the only downside was, as with any woman knows, ordering online, even if you follow the measurements to a T, it's not going to 100% fit right.
It will never fit you right.
Never. You need to do alterations.
Yeah.
Which...
Well, it's even at that time, I was going through a pretty bad work injury. And so I was basically skin and bones.
You were really thin, yeah.
I was really thin. Let's see, what's the weight difference between then and now? 40 pounds?
Yeah. I was going to say,
I'm not overweight. I'm
not at all.
I'm not even at my like goal weight that I want to be at for like muscle wise. So that if that tells you anything, I was really underweight.
You were really thin. And I shouldn't say this is the funny part, but I just have it in my brain when we went to the alterations place.
Gosh.
I'm going to sound so mean. I'm pretty sure they're Russian.
I'm fairly sure they're Russian.
I'm pretty sure I heard Russian. But like the stereotypical, only a handful spoke English. And so what later learned was the owner, she comes out and she starts pinching the dress for Jess. And all I can hear, because I'm on the other side of the curtain, is, oh, we need to take this off. So skinny, too skinny. I'm like, what is going on
That's
in
all
there?
she kept saying. But granted, in her defense, so I went based off those measurements, right? Even with how thin I was, it was telling me to order a size 10.
Mm-hmm.
And
she was not a size 10.
No. And she's just like, why'd you order this one? This is too big. And I was like, that's what they told me to order. Sorry.
Right?
But she took like over 2 inches off each side.
She did. Oh my god, but it looked so good.
Yeah, I mean, all together, so I know we're kind of doing a deep dive on this. So I don't remember how much the dress was. I think the alterations were about $80, $86.
I think, you were around that because I got something tailored at the same time. And I think mine was like $115 and I think yours was $80.
Yeah, because there wasn't any like, I mean, mine was, what is it called? Like crepe material? Is it called a crepe material?
Yeah, you were a crepe. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there was no beading, there was no lace, like nothing crazy, so it was cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And so with everything all together, it was under $300.
Yeah, for the dress plus the alterations.
Honestly, if you want to throw in the veil too, that was all still under $300.
Uh-huh. Oh, that was the other thing, because we had looked at your veil at a place I don't want to name, but the second shop that we looked at, and that one was a $175 veil.
Yeah, and I got mine off of basically a small business website, and I think it was like $18.
Yeah, seriously, a big takeaway from this is do not spend a lot of money on your veil. I got suckered into mine.
You did. You really did.
I did. Because I went and I bought my dress at an actual shop for dresses. And when I went to go pick it up, I had my parents, I had my future in-laws there. And then my mother-in-law was babysitting her grandniece and nephews. The little kids were there. So I come out and I got the dress on. It's the first time my dad's seen it and the in-laws. And it's all so nice. And the sales attendant did a great job. She goes, okay, well, here, how about we put a veil on to complete the look? Oh, doesn't she look great?
It looks perfect.
Fuck, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And they were like, do you want us to just, like, throw this in? We can just add this on your total. I'm like, yeah, sure.
You're already spending how much money? What's another
150.
150?
Yeah. I went fingertip length, by the way.
I did too.
So, don't spend that money on a veil. Seriously.
No. Honestly, you can even DIY it pretty easy for pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Just go to Joann's. If you want, I had a veil with pearls on it. So if you want the pearls, get yourself some pearls. I mean, a lot of them come with hooks on them already. So just get some like fish hook or some clear line or whatever and just sew them in randomly.
Yeah. And that's what yours was, and it was perfect.
Yeah.
Mine had the beading detail all around the outside, which that's how they get you.
Honestly, that won't even be that bad either, though.
I know. At that point, I was like, sure. And that's another thing. Whether you're doing a wedding or an elopement, be careful how much DIY you take on because you are severely going to overestimate how much energy you have.
Yeah, it takes up a lot of mental energy and a lot of physical energy. All that mental stuff will pile into the physical side, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I was a complete wreck.
I was a wreck for your wedding, too.
We both were. I mean, like, obviously, I don't know if I've said it yet, but so just the elopement, we did more of the traditional wedding. We had 150 people, and that was the cut down list, by the way.
Yeah, that was the short list.
That was the short list. And like that was just, again, the day itself ended up being great, but very different.
Very, very different.
Very different.
It depends on what you ultimately want, you and your partner ultimately want for that day, and what your goal is for that day.
Yes. Yeah. And really have in-depth conversations with your partner, because at the start of wedding planning, you hear random numbers thrown around.
Mm-hmm. A whole lot of random numbers.
A lot. And, you know, it's people trying to be good-hearted. They're like, oh, we got married 5-10 years ago. We had a $20,000 wedding. We had 300 people. Those type of weddings don't exist anymore.
No, it's not going to happen.
It's not. Not unless you have a bunch of land and you happen to own like a catering company, so you can cut out the cost of a venue and you can cut low on the cost of food. You are not going to get that.
No.
Because it is very easy between food and venue, depending on the size of your group, depending where you go, easily can be between 18 to 30,000.
Easily.
Easily.
A lot of times goes above that too.
Mm-hmm.
Really fast.
Yeah. And that's not even including when you add in the alcohol.
Yep. No, I wasn't even thinking about that. Yeah. It just, depending on where you go and your group size, you can spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
You can. There's a couple places downtown that I know is like the venue itself goes for 50, 60 grand. That's just the venue for a night.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's absolutely insane. And the thing is, the argument always rests on, oh, you're only going to get married once, you hope. So you might as well make it a nice day. And like, I can follow that logic to a degree. But like, we were doing just some research on wedding costs before we did this podcast. Mm-hmm. And according to, I believe it was Zola.com, is about 32% of people that end up using a credit card for their wedding expenses, which also, when you work with wedding vendors, credit cards carry between a 4 to 8% processing fee.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's why I did not use a credit card for anything. I'm like, I will write a check. Or I will give you cash if I have to.
I understand now. Ow.
I didn't do card for anything.
No.
Because every single one of them was a minimum 4% fee. Which when you're paying a larger invoice, 4%,
that's a lot.
It's a little bit.
It adds up real fast.
It does. And it's not even the vendor's fault, because it's the credit processing company. Yeah. So like, you don't want to be mad at them. You don't want to gyp them.
Yeah.
But that's why I do check.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, but like, it's insane how much that can start costing. So it is really important that you have like a true sit-down conversation with your partner about how much are you comfortable spending on one day. Mm-hmm. And it's not like oh, we can make, 50,000 work.
No, it's what are you comfortable with? Also, ultimately, like, family aside, friends aside, what do you want out of your day?
Yes.
And what are your expectations? Honestly, just lay everything down. Like, what do you want? What do you expect to happen? Who do you want to be there? Who don't you want to be there? That can really, honestly, that just kind of summarizes what your wedding should look like. Mm-hmm.
It is. And I know that was a big thing with you and your husband getting married, because you guys kept it so small, 2-week turnaround. Mm-hmm. We just counted up before this. There was, in total, if we include Ruby, 9 living beings mm-hmm. that were a part of the wedding ceremony and the dinner afterwards.
I mean, we could go up to 10 if you include the random photographer doing a time lapse of the sky.
True. And then the random people that walked by. Yeah. But again, you guys were so smart, because what they had done is they had scouted out a beautiful scenic spot on the river in the Twin Cities. Mm-hmm. Literally, this is just a public park area.
No one really knows about it, though.
No, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And they just scouted it out. They figured out they wanted to get married when, the sun was setting. So the day before, you guys went on your WALK.
Yeah. That was our rehearsal, as my husband likes to say.
Yeah. Like, you guys, you had it all set up. Like, you knew that was the time you wanted to get married. Mm-hmm. And so you just had your, was it that someone showed up early to hold it.
Oh, yeah. So both our officiant and the photographer, who are really good friends, by the way, really, really good friends. And so they both showed up earlier, so they made sure that they got the spot. So when we got there, there would be no hassle. Which, by the way, side note, obviously your officiant knowing you and being good friends with you, that is awesome. He gave us an amazing ceremony. I loved it.
It was beautiful.
But also having a photographer who is your friend, like, I knew everybody at our ceremony at a personal level.
Yeah.
And that was huge for me.
It is. That was the thing with our photographer. She actually had photographed my cousin's brother's wedding.
Oh.
And then that's how I had met her, and she did my senior photos.
Oh, cool.
And so, like, I already knew her from 2 different things, and we kept up on Facebook. It turns out she actually used to live right down the street. She literally moved out, like, the week before we moved in.
Oh, yeah. Small world.
Very small world. But so, like, having that personal relationship with her already, that helped a ton for making us feel more comfortable.
Oh, for sure, because photos can be daunting.
Especially when you're already feeling very exposed, because I don't know about you, but I was so self-conscious of my appearance, my body. All of it just went into overdrive, especially in like the 6 weeks really leading up to the wedding and the day of.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest thing was I was self-conscious about how thin I got just because I was skeleton, because that's what happens to me when I can't exercise. I don't eat because I don't get hungry. It's a whole train wreck, but that's for another episode. But I was very self-conscious about how thin I was. That was about it, but luckily, you know, I didn't have to stand in front of hundreds of people. And like that day, I just felt so relaxed.
Yeah. Which that was a great day, because we had done a hair and makeup trial. Like, I did Jess's hair and makeup for her wedding. But yeah, we did one trial run, but we've already done a wedding together, which will be part of a different story at a different time. Yes. But she had been a bridesmaid, and I had done her hair and makeup for that, for a bride who had very particular standards for appearances. So we did, I don't know how many trial runs we did.
I lost track after like 6 or 7.
Yeah,
so.
Like, it was a lot. So for your wedding, we just did one, and we're like, this is really just kind of like
this is good.
Crossing our T's, dotting our I's.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, day of, you came here in the morning. We just honestly had snacks. But yeah, no, we went and got our nails done. Yeah, then just did hair and makeup here.
Yeah.
Ate for a bit. Made sure to eat before we left.
Yes. I know, your wedding, I was like, Connie, eat, drink. Eat, drink, like, all day. I was like chasing her down, like, Connie, come here.
Between you, my cousin, and my sister, that is the only reason I had any food or hydration in me that day. I was like, oh, that's a good idea. Have I eaten in the last 2 days? I don't know. I think so.
Or like, I have specific electrolyte water. I'm like, Connie, electrolytes, now. Here you go.
Yeah, there is no such thing as germs between the two. I mean, there's never anything of germs between us, but I'm like, you drink from it, I drink from it. I don't care.
It's our water bottle.
Yeah. That's the little friendship. It's ours. Oh, God. But we got to have that chill morning and then go get changed at your house, because it was near the place you were getting married. You know, you had one of your friends meet us there. So then we just got to... I don't know if this will set her off, but we got to DRIVE over.
Oh, no, she doesn't get set off by that.
She doesn't know that one?
No,
okay, good.
Not that one. Not yet.
That one. And, like, it just got to be very chill, and you got to have that small, intimate ceremony.
Yeah, which is exactly what we wanted. Like, the thought of basically doing what you did, just for both me and my husband, we were feeling, like, physically ill just thinking about having to do that. And for us, for me saying that words, we would have to do that. It would basically be like someone would have to force me down the aisle. Like, you would have had to, like, physically kick me down to the aisle.
I'll just carry you down.
Yeah. Not because I don't love my husband. I love my husband very, very much. And I'm very happy that we're married. But the sheer fact of all eyes on me, No. No.
Yeah, let me tell you, it's not something that you process until you're in it. Because I gave myself like a half second when we were WALKing down the aisle.
Yeah.
Where we came out, you go out the door and then you go to the side and then you turn down the aisle. And it was at that point when I turned with my dad and I made the mistake of just doing a quick glance across the room.
No. We told you not to do that, Connie.
I couldn't help it though because I saw so many smiling faces and I'm like, huh? No. So then at that point, I just looked straight ahead. I made eye contact with Johnny. I didn't look at my officiant because she was my freshman roommate. She's a huge reason my husband and I are even together, which is why we asked her to marry us.
And will be in a future episode.
Will be. Oh, and she did an amazing job.
She did a fantastic job.
She did. I'm still getting compliments from people who are like, one, that ceremony was short and amazing. Two, she did a good job.
She packed a lot into such a short amount of time where it was impressive what she got through.
She did. And she made it personalized.
Yes.
And just very, you could tell she meant it. It came from her heart, which
absolutely
was great. But I also knew, I'm like, don't look at her because she and I, we cry.
Yep.
And I knew I couldn't look at you.
I had her so her cousin was standing, no, your sister was standing next to me, and then your cousin was next to your sister. And so I got there, and when we're standing waiting for you, your sister, like, got a nudge from your cousin, because she handed your sister a tissue, and then so your sister handed it to me, and she said, it's from your cousin. And I was just like, okay. And then you start walking down the aisle, and I already told them, like, I can't look at you while you're walking down. And then I get, like, a little kick from your cousin. She's like, look up. I'm like, yeah, that's right.
I can totally see that. Because, of course, we all had our hair and makeup professionally done that day.
Yeah.
Right? Which, that was also a hard thing for me to let go of control on, because I'm the one who normally does hair and makeup for people.
So beautiful, though.
They did such an amazing job.
They did an amazing job on everyone. It was...
Everyone. Which is awesome, because we all had different skin types, different hair types. I mean, we were mostly Caucasian, but one Vietnamese girl, still did really good with her.
Amazing.
Which, for makeup standards, honestly, the standard should be that everyone, if you are a makeup artist, you should be able to do makeup on any skin type or skin tone. Mm-hmm. That's not the reality. So the fact,
unfortunately not.
I know. But the fact that they did her so well, I loved her hair and makeup.
It turned out amazing. Yeah.
It was amazing. Like, everything looked so good. But that's also why we were like, okay, we can't cry, because even though this is waterproof, we can't cry.
Yeah. We can't ruin anything or even take the chance of ruining anything.
I know. There were so many times I was also like, okay, look up, you're good. I couldn't do that while walking down the aisle.
Unfortunately.
But, like, in those moments of just looking at my husband, as cliche as it sounded, I didn't pay attention to anything else.
Aww.
I was like, okay, I'm in my safe space. This is okay. The only fumble was trying to figure out the rings, did you see that?
That was pretty funny.
That was included in the wedding highlight reel.
Of course it was.
Or in the ceremony video. Just because, like, we rehearsed it, but when you're up there and you're trying not to look at anyone because you don't want to cry, but then also, like, you're so happy because after years, you're finally here.
Years.
It's the better part of a decade.
Yeah.
Like, you're finally there. And it's a lot. And then you forget, like, does he go first at the ring? What does it mean? I put the ring on him? Does he put the ring on me? Oh, shit. He had a little bumble during the ceremony, but...
I kind of bumbled mine, too. I grabbed mine a whole
verse too early.
Yeah, whole verse too early, because we started doing the vows, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is time. So I turned to her. Well, she couldn't hear anything that was going on.
No, because I was trying to stand back enough, though. I'm like, so the photographer can get pictures of just the two of you, and you had your train on your dress, and we were OUTSIDE, so, there was dirt, and I didn't want to stand on your train.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as you turned, and I'm like, oh.
It's time. Yeah. So I just awkwardly stood there
holding
with a ring, and I was like, well, crap. What do I do now?
Yeah, I heard about that part.
Yeah.
But It's fine. It worked out.
So it happens with everyone.
It does. It was, everything works out. But again, in that moment, I didn't want to allow myself to think just how much that wedding was costing, that moment to stand there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, you know, it's what you want. And we had wanted, because we have such large families, we're like, hey, we do want to have like an actual thing. Mm-hmm. And then we thought about doing, have a ceremony and then do a reception later, which is really similar to what you guys said. You did a reception at your house a year later.
Yeah.
Open house, basically. Yeah. And we had talked about it, but the demographic of our guest list, the cut down one, is a lot of older folks.
Yeah.
And that's something to keep in mind, too. If you are going to be taking in the opinions of others, older folks don't tend to like the elopement version, basically, or the small ceremony, and then a secondary party.
Yeah. Also, with the older folks, their views of elopement and our generation's views of elopement, totally different.
So different.
Because in their time, it was a bad thing.
It was
like,
a bad thing.
You're running off and...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also, in the least offensive possible way to say this, a lot of them, when they were getting married, it cost a shilling and a good donkey. Like, it's a little different now, okay?
Yeah.
It is the equivalent of, for some people, an entire year's salary.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot. Like, we were looking at statistics, and honestly, I think these statistics took into account situations like you guys, where it's elopement, and they're considering it a wedding, which is bringing the costs down. Because for Minnesota, it is an average wedding cost as of 2024. It's about $26,000. If you have a wedding of about, like 100 to 150 people, you're looking at around, let me pull it back up, about $34,000.
That seems very lowball.
That does. It really depends on, a host of external factors. Like, are you going to have a DJ and a videographer? Conversations I never thought to have until we were in that situation. Yeah, so it all depends on, like, what you're going to pursue. Like, we saved money on our wedding by renting flowers, fake flowers.
Which I didn't know was a thing, by the way.
I didn't either. Until all of a sudden I had an ad pop up, which, another piece of advice. If you are getting married, or you think you may be engaged soon, for the love of everything, create a separate email that is purely for wedding stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot.
There's a lot.
And it would get lost in everything, too, I'm sure.
It does. Even with a separate wedding email, I lost some really important communications from our vendors, which...
Yikes.
Yeah, it wasn't good. I got a few, they don't want to be angry with you because, they know a lot's going on. But it got to the point where I had to tell a couple of vendors, I'm like, hey, you have to call my cell for every little thing because I am getting so many emails from all these places that, I have reached out to for wedding quotes or otherwise. I'm not seeing your message because I'm getting no less than, at least 5 emails an hour.
Yeah.
With random wedding stuff. But, yeah, sorry. So much. But yeah, saved money by renting fake flowers. And by the way, they looked amazing.
Wouldn't have even guessed.
Would not have known. Perfect. But even still, that was $600.
Yeah. It's still not cheap. Whatever you do with the word wedding attached to it, it's going to be expensive.
It is. And we cut down on the flowers, too.
Yeah.
And, then that includes the boutonnieres and the corsages. Mm-hmm. But, we didn't do chair toppers or, aisle liners.
No. Which... in my opinion, it looked beautiful anyways. So
we didn't need it.
Your venue was amazing.
That did help. Which, looking at the pictures that we've gotten back so far, and the video, even though the venue was pricey, it was beautiful.
It was really pretty.
So,
yeah.
Damn it. I mean, yay, but damn it. It's hard. But then you guys save money because other than Ruby's flower collar, you guys didn't do any flowers.
Mm-mm. And honestly, I went to Joann's the day of... I didn't realize that there was an extreme sale going on, but there was an extreme sale going on. So I got all of the flowers and a little more for like $10.
Different experience.
So $10 and some hot glue, which I already had because I don't know, it was up in my attic. I needed it for something apparently. But that, and I just put a TV show on, and
yeah. And you had an extra collar laying around?
That's another thing. I went to a pet store and got a collar off of their clearance rack because I'm like, it doesn't matter what it is. So it's like, it was this mermaid thing. It was labeled as like mermaid colors or something like that.
So pivoting, sorry for the little cut there. Dogs had opinions.
They had lots of opinions.
Lots of opinions. So now would be a good time to talk about the practice that you get in setting boundaries when it comes to your wedding, whether it's wedding big or wedding elopement.
Yeah, it's, once you make your decision, stand firm with it. That's probably the thing that I had the most difficulty with. Like we had it to where it was just us and a handful of people. Like we said, under 10. So we were in single digits here, which means neither of our parents were there. Our siblings were not there. Family was not there, which my parents knew before we got married. I was trying to prep them in advance, like well in advance. I think I started prepping them like a year in advance.
I was going to say, it was a while where you started dropping the hints of like, just a heads up, we might elope, we might drive to Colorado and just get married.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because your dog can be your witness. Mm-hmm. That was my number one reason. I'm like, they put her paw print on the wedding. They do.
Oh, baby.
So imagine, instead of me signing, it would be Zeus's paw print.
Oh, baby.
So we almost did that. But, like, I was trying to prep to be... I knew it wasn't going to be a positive reaction. And I understood that, so I was trying to be as nice as possible. And it was hard. It was very, very hard, especially on my mom. Yeah. She was not okay with it whatsoever.
No.
Putting it the nicest way possible.
No, she was not. She reached out because she knew that I was going to be one of their witnesses. So your mom had reached out to me quite a bit, asking, some things, and that's also another thing, like, whoever's going to be your wedding party, I mean, obviously you want to be on great terms with them, but, like, them reinforcing your boundaries is really big.
It's key. It's key.
Yeah. In a nice way, of course.
Well, yeah, we were trying to be as respectful as we could, and, she was upset that, she couldn't go dress shopping. I'm like, well, I didn't go dress shopping, and technically she had gone dress shopping with me before. Story for another time.
Right, I forgot about
that. She already got that experience.
She did.
She got that experience. So to me, I was like, I didn't want that experience. To me, I was so uncomfortable. Basically, this will be a whole different episode when we talk about toxic relationships, but that was a terrible relationship.
Yeah.
And
not her husband now.
No. Totally different person. Thank you for saying that. Totally different person. And when I was dress shopping before, I was terrified, basically. I didn't want to marry this guy. I didn't want to be with this guy. I just didn't know how to get out.
Yeah, there was a lot going on.
There was a lot going on. Like I said, we're going to deep dive into this in a different episode. But I didn't want anything that I had already done or had thought about doing anywhere near this wedding.
Yeah, you went complete opposite.
Yeah, I'm like, this is the person that I'm supposed to be with. This is who I love, who I want to marry, and I want to be with. And I don't want even 1 second of that feeling to come into me as we're trying on dresses or whatever. So I ordered one online.
Yeah.
Skip the whole thing.
Which honestly, yes, because that dress shopping experience was... Exhausting, chaotic, and also, just gotta have a side note here. We talked about in a previous episode how there's different versions of parenting, and now we're gonna add in a third category that I'm gonna call, what were you thinking? Do you remember the big group that was at a very famous bridal shop?
Oh
with
my
the
gosh,
children?
I forgot about that.
And it was a busy Saturday, so they're white dresses everywhere, which, by the way, not dresses you can just throw in the laundry machine. You can't just do that. This big group next to us had a bunch of children, and to distract the children, they gave them Cheetos.
That's a great mix. Children, Cheetos, white dresses.
In a crowded bridal shop.
And, like, the cheapest one there was probably $1,000.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And by the way, were they watching these children? No.
Of course not.
No, they were not. No. And they were, like, between, like, 4 and 6. Like, I'm talking young enough to be able to run and do damage with Cheeto hands everywhere.
I forgot about that because I just blocked all of that out of my mind.
Oh, literally. There was at one point where because I had been helping Jess change into her dresses, but I stepped out at one point to go grab a veil or something. And your sister-in-law, who was there with us, I was watching her face. She was getting more and more pissed off. And she pulls me aside. She's like, I don't know what the fuck is happening, but I might punt a kid. And I'm like, all right, I'm with you. I'm with you there.
I could see that coming out of her mouth.
Because it was getting so bad because they were like running and stepping on people's like bags, their purses. They ran over. I don't know if you noticed when you tried on the long cathedral veil when we were fanning that out. They ran over and almost ran over the veil while it was clipped into your head.
Girl, I don't remember anything from that day other than my feelings.
That's valid. It's okay. I have the anger of the situation for you.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad one of us has. I don't really care. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Literally, it's just the mind-bogglingness of Cheetos children wedding store.
Yeah. Why?
I don't know. Anyway, but so yeah, she went very opposite of that, and it turned out perfect. And I cannot imagine you having any other type of wedding or wedding ceremony.
If there was even like one more person, I probably would have been uncomfortable.
I think so too. Knowing you, if you and I had swapped weddings, I would have been fine in yours.
Yeah.
You would not have enjoyed mine. I barely enjoyed mine leading up to the wedding.
Yeah.
Which sounds so bad.
I don't know if I physically would have been able to walk down the aisle for your if roles were reversed, I don't think I would have physically been able to.
Right. Oh, that was the crazy thing is like I was on. Well, you stayed with me the night before. Mm-hmm. Like, I was very much just like, we're moving. Like, we're getting it done. Let's go. And it wasn't until we are lining up to, start the ceremony and do the processional. And we're walking. They didn't hear it. People start WALKing out. And I'm like, okay, my nerves are starting to hit. And then what I noticed was, wait a minute, the music that I'm hearing isn't the music that we picked.
I forgot about that. They forgot to shut off the music on the other half.
So we got married on one half of the building, and then the cocktail hours on the other. Well, they set it up for reception. And the funny thing is, I heard it, but I was kind of like, oh well, it's fine. But our venue coordinator. Oh
she was
my
pissed.
God.
She was so pissed.
It was funny because she runs back and she yells at one of her team members. She's like, shut off the lobby music. And the team member, this was hilarious. She looks at the coordinator and goes, oh, I don't think there's a way for us to do that.
I missed that part because me and the best man started walking as she ran back because we were delayed by going, and she freaked out at us for not going. I'm like, well, you ran at me. What do you expect me to do?
Yes. Oh, she had like venom in her eyeballs.
Oh my gosh.
Which actually, I appreciate that because at that point my nerves had started building. Where like my dad's like, yeah, I could feel your pulse as I was holding your hand. And I was like, yeah, no, I was freaking. But seeing that comical moment, I was like...
It was kind of appreciated, though.
It brought me out of it enough to be like, okay, this is fine. Until they got the music shut off, and then it switches from Somewhere Over the Rainbow to Elton John song that I'm forgetting already. But we have the door shut in front of us before we start WALKing out.
I wasn't expecting that, by the way.
She mentioned it to me, but I didn't process it.
Okay.
So we started moving forward, and she shut the door, and I'm like, okay.
I know, she shut the door, and I remember looking, like, at the rest of the bridesmaids party. I'm like, what are they doing?
To build suspense.
We're like, does she need a moment? Like, what's up?
That's what you're thinking.
That's what I was thinking. I don't know what they were thinking. I'm like, she need a moment? She crying? Like, what's going on?
Oh God, no, just building the moment. And then like she was waiting, I guess, for a specific part in the song.
Oh. Well,
So-
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's when
I
she
couldn't
opened
even
the
tell
door.
you what song was going on. I was so nervous for you.
I picked it out. I don't remember. No, I was. And again, those were the nerves were building. But then as soon as I saw Johnny, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to be okay.
Again, nothing to do with marrying our husbands.
No.
Nothing to do with that whatsoever. Just
Everything
situation.
surrounding it.
Yeah.
Because it is so much. And this is something that I don't think is discussed a lot, because in society, in movies and everything, we talk about like, oh, there's a bridezilla, or oh, the bride is super stressed. And it's a running joke of like, oh, she passes out because she's barely eating anything because she's trying to fit into the dress and blah, blah.
So realistic.
It's so realistic. And like, if you talk to my husband, there was at one point, I have a full breakdown on the way to a couple shower held by our family in honor of us, which, you know, great timing.
Yeah, it's great.
And he meant this in the most loving way, but literally he's like, I think you should get some therapy. Which, pro tip, maybe not the thing to say to your fiance as she is breaking down, sobbing because she is so stressed.
Poor timing.
Poor timing.
Poor words.
Meant with love.
Yes.
But like, it is so draining, because even if you have a bunch of people helping, which thankfully I did, like Jess, my mom, my sisters, my cousin, like I had such a wonderful village where if I didn't have you guys, this would not have happened.
Yeah. Like when something needed to be done, like there was at least 5 of us that jumped at whatever.
Yep. And it was so appreciated.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, the stress of all of it, the absolute toll that it takes physically and mentally on the one who is expected to be the planner, because everyone expects this is the bride's day. Like the groom is just kind of an accessory, like, okay.
They're kind of there.
They're just kind of there.
Yep.
Like this is a whole day of where every little thing that happens, it's judged back on the bride.
Yep.
And like you're so painfully aware of that.
Yeah.
And so it just adds so much stress, and it just keeps building and building and building to where I got to the point I was just like numb to everything.
Yeah.
And then after the wedding, I started losing weight like right away just because my cortisol went down. And then I got so sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So sick.
Which not at all surprised, to be completely honest.
I've been hearing that that's actually really common. One
Yeah.
of my neighbors was a day of coordinator for many, many years. And she texted me saying like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm sick. She goes, oh yeah, the bride always gets sick after the wedding because you've been building up so much stress that your body just collapses on itself.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Again, it's a great day, and I know we're talking about the negatives, but like this is just stuff that
People
you should
don't
know.
think about. Yeah. It's not something that people often discuss, because why would you want to talk about negatives on your wedding day?
Right? And like even to other brides, like right now, one of my very good friends who was a part of the wedding, she just got engaged. I don't know if she has announced anything yet, which is why I'm not giving any of it. But she got engaged a week after my wedding. And I was part of her engagement. Like he had reached out to us. I
Really
told you he wrote me a thank you note for being part of the
Yeah.
for the proposal.
Really, really sweet. Very,
So
very sweet
sweet.
couple, by the way.
So happy for them.
Yes.
And like I have texted her like a little with just like little like check-ins, like how are you doing, you know, because they're getting married in October, so like short time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
October.
Going fast.
Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, I'm trying to get
I mean, good for them, though. Short engagement.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's perfect. It's just they found the venue they wanted. They
Oh,
couldn't get a
nice.
Saturday, but they could get a Friday, so they
Oh,
took the Friday as soon
cool.
as they could get it.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
need a Saturday wedding.
No, go for it.
Yeah.
No, but I'm like trying to be so careful with her because it's her wedding. She's a different bride than I am, so the stresses that I have are not going to be the same one she has,
No.
and vice versa.
Yeah.
So like, I don't ever want to be like domineering, condescending, any of that.
It's just like things that you wish you would have known. Like things that I wish someone would have told me before I made all these decisions. You're trying to
Mhm.
save her from making not wrong decisions, but like
No, but just try to help her. Like, these are the mistakes I made. Like, make your own mistakes, obviously.
Yeah.
But like, if you can learn from mine, go
Save
for
yourself time and headache.
Yeah, which is a huge thing because I've been now to at least one wedding a year over the last 2 to 3 years, something.
I've been to a lot.
You have, yeah.
This summer alone was like 5.
Yeah, a lot of weddings, yeah.
It's crazy.
It's impressive. But, and like, just being at those, you hear some things from the bride, if like depending on your level of relationship.
Yeah, all depending.
But I didn't have anyone be like this honest with me.
No, never.
Yeah, which is not a fault on them at all.
No, like I love to, I mean, you know me, I try to find positives in everything. So, you know, you can't dwell on negatives, but also at the same time, like if no one's talking about it, no one's going to know until they're going through it.
And when you go through it, you feel crazy to a degree because it's like there is no way that every other bride is dealing with the same amount of stress. Like, I have to be doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Which then adds a whole other level of just anxiety of now you're doing something that's supposed to be all about you because everyone's going to tell you it's your day. Do what makes you happy. Do what makes both of you happy. And then you're like, wait, I'm not happy. But what do I want to do? Do I really want this? Like,
well, and then you're hearing from so many people like, well, this is what I would do. So then now you're like, well, what would I do? Because I'm hearing all these things. Do I have an opinion, or am I just basing my opinion off of my aunt who said something, or my uncle who said something, my brother said this,
yeah. No, and it gets hard. And even still, there were so many situations I was in where I've got some very outspoken people in my life where you may not ask for their opinion, but you will get their opinion.
Yep.
Yeah. I still love them. But there was a couple of times those people started giving me opinions and input on the wedding, and their significant other or someone else would be like, oh, hush up, like it's her wedding, she's got it. And I'm like, don't hush them because there might actually be something good in there. But like you can never open that door just a little because then people go
floodgate.
You get floodgate. Like they want to plan your wedding for you.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's either nothing or that. There's like not a lot of in between.
No. And I didn't have any advice for you, so.
No, you're right. Honestly, it was very helpful to just be like, okay, I'm stressed. Oh, good timing. Jess is calling me to ask how I'm doing. Hey.
Yeah, that was my thing. Like, if I hadn't heard from you in a couple days, I would just be like, I'm going to go call Connie. Mm-hmm. How are you doing? What can I do?
Right? Which, like, honestly, that is a huge thing if you are a maid of honor. Hell, if you are a groomsman, a bridesmaid.
Reach out.
Yeah, just reach out. And there's 2 helpful things to do. One, reach out. How are you doing? What can I do to help? The second one is if you've got a bride who is overwhelmed, like I definitely got to. What helped was in the last 3 weeks, my mom, and my sisters, it became not what can I do? You'd say like, okay, what needs to be done?
Yeah.
And I'd say something, and then you guys would each take it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, oh, my mom brought up, she's like, okay, do you have name cards taken care of? I'm like, oh, I didn't even remember about name cards, and it's required by the venue. Mom's like, don't worry about it. Send me your guest list. Send me the dietary list, the table list, and I'll take care of it. I'll get the printing. I'll do all of it.
Yeah. Turned out great.
It did. Which that, I didn't realize until later. My mom put like hours into that.
It turned out beautiful.
It did.
Which
Thank
is
God.
She, that day of coordinator was not my favorite.
She was very pushy, but I will say I actually have a higher opinion of her after being a couple on the wedding day, because she adjusted her approach to us.
Yeah.
So like she did really good with that, but she was pushy and a little what's the word I want to use here?
I don't know, because I have choice words and they're not even close to that. So
yeah, I did hear about you and Jody. I can say her name. You and her with the bouquet and the bouquet.
So her cousin, I don't even know what she called it, but the coordinator came up to her and she's like, "It's bouquet."
Mm-hmm.
And so for the remainder of the reception plus
Yeah, this was at the rehearsal the day before.
Yeah, this was at the rehearsal. Did I say reception?
Yeah. Close enough.
So at the rehearsal and then throughout the entire wedding day, anytime that she was within ear's distance, we would try to say bouquet.
Yep.
Just to piss her off. This lady was not my favorite. What I was getting at with those place cards, your mom had them in a specific order.
Yep, it had to be organized by last name.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's what the caterers required.
But so the coordinator came and started scrambling all of them up. And I'm like, what are you doing?
I didn't know about that.
Yeah. So she's like, I need the head table. I'm like, I'll do it. She's like, no, I'm figuring it out. I'm like, this is in like alphabetical order. She's like, yeah, this one goes here, this one. I'm like, these are last names with these are last names with S, and you're putting S in front of D. What are you doing?
Yep.
So no, I don't know where you were somewhere else. I think you were working on getting your hair done. I think you were
the
with
final touches. Yeah.
Didn't
know about that one.
No. So there was a couple times where I had to intervene with her. I'm like, stop moving. What are you doing? What needs to be because you're messing
to do?
You're messing stuff up. What are you doing?
Yeah, I can see that. She, again, I have a higher opinion of her now, just having gone through all the wedding stuff. She's been doing wedding stuff for decades. Like, I don't know how she's in that every single day. So I'm like, okay, I get why you were so, like, pushy and very much like, nope, this is how we're doing it. We're doing it this way. Which, again, on the day of the wedding, I actually really appreciated that because I was at the point where no one asked me to make another decision.
Yeah.
Like, even when we were finishing up, like, how to do my hair, because we had been back and forth from our trial, Becca was like, oh, well, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? And I'm just going, she goes, okay, based on what you've told me in the past, I'm going to do this. If you hate it, we'll change it. Sound good? And I'm like, oh, yeah.
At a certain point, you're just decisioned out.
Decision fatigue is a thing.
It is. Especially so, kind of just really random, and we'll get back. But like with my job being a paramedic for as long as I did it, I had to make so many decisions, and a lot of decisions like very, very quickly, to the point where if I was not working, I could not make decisions.
I know.
At all.
I remember that.
I was like, I don't know. I don't care.
Yep.
I want to not decide. That is my decision.
I was going to say, I know, I took charge on like a lot of those. What are we going to eat? I don't care. Okay, we're going to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, just because I physically couldn't. Yeah. My brain just shut down. I'm like,
bandwidth is a thing when it comes to your brain.
Yeah.
Especially when it is like being in a paramedic job and wedding. Obviously not the same type of high stress.
No, but it's still high stress.
It's still high stress. And you've got your cortisol going.
Yeah.
So when you are boom, 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 making decisions, it is absolutely exhausting. You are depleting every ounce of bandwidth. There were so many nights where I'd get home because I still was working a full-time job that was also very much a mental job.
Yeah.
Not physical. Physical exhaustion, one thing, that's, of course, a lot. Mental exhaustion, different type of exhaustion. Yeah. And so I'd have to do that during the day, come home, try to get wedding stuff done. And then I'd look around my house and I'm like, I haven't worked out. I haven't cleaned up anything. I have not meal prepped. And I just like sit on the stairs, just staring into space because I was just so fatigued out. And I would do that for like an hour until Johnny came home. Or if Johnny was already home, he'd like have to drag me up to bed. He'd be like, you need to go to bed. And I'm like, but I have stuff that I have to do. And he's like, but you're not doing it. And I'm like, I can't do anything else. He goes, you just need to go to bed right now.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine your level of stress because my level of stress was high for your wedding.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't, so I can't even like get in your shoes. But it like got to the point where, and we're going to do an episode on this talking about this topic, but like, it got to the point where I was so stressed out. Also, love you so much.
I'm not going to take it wrong. You're good.
So her wedding was in the middle of my finals week.
Not intentional, I promise.
Not intentional. No. my wedding was during finals week as well. So it's fine. Just poor timing for both of us. But at one point, I had woken up. I mean, I started sleepwalking and sleep talking. And according to my husband, I have no recollection of this whatsoever. I just remember having a very vivid dream of I was late for something and I had to be somewhere. That's all I remembered. And so I basically, according to my husband, I woke up in a panic, and he was still awake at this point. So luckily I didn't wake him up or anything, but I woke up in a panic and just like hopped out of bed and was pacing saying, where do I need to be? I need to be somewhere. Where do I need to go?
Oh, no.
What do I need to do? Like, I was freaking out. And he's like, I basically had to talk you off a cliff. Like,
Oh no.
Eventually to get me back in bed, he told me that, oh, I know where you need to go. You said you had to go to the bathroom and then you're going to go back to bed.
Smart man.
Yeah.
Smart man.
Yeah, because sometimes I just randomly wake up and when you gotta pee, you gotta pee.
I mean, yeah.
And so apparently I said, okay, went and peed and came back and just was like out.
I mean, the stress was real.
It was bad. It was so bad.
I know. And that was, which again, obviously, I love you for a host of reasons. But like, one of the biggest helps was because we were going to get ready here at our house the next day, which our ceremony wasn't until 4 o'clock, which means we didn't have to get to the venue until 12 o'clock. And we're doing some girl mass scheduling here. So if you back that up, it means you had to leave here between 11:30 and 11:45, which then you have to allow for, 7 people doing their hair and makeup. So you back that up. So then you have to make sure that you have people here by 7, ass in seat by 7:30, which means you and I had to be up by 6.
And we were in bed at 2?
2, yeah.
Yeah.
Jess came and stayed at my house with me because she's like, I know that you were going to be nervous and freaking the fuck out the night before. Do you want me to come stay? And I'm like, yes.
Yeah. And who wants to be by themselves the night before their wedding?
No. You know what Johnny did that night?
What? I was always curious if he was going to tell you what he did.
So the difference between men and women right here when it comes to the wedding. So we had our rehearsal. We had our rehearsal dinner. And then we came back here and my husband and I did our vows, which I'm still so mad we didn't record. It was so sweet. It was just us and our dog Zeus, just peaceful together. Honestly, would not have had it any other way. Mm-hmm. So then he left because he went to go stay with his best man at his best man's parents' house across the cities. And when he got over there, because several of his groomsmen, they grew up together, but now, like, one lives out of state, the other lives far away, so, like, they're together for the first time in a while. So they all met up and they went bowling.
Okay, that's not where I thought they were going to go.
Nothing
bad.
Cool. They went bowling, and so I'm getting a text from Johnny. He's like, oh my god, I forgot how fun bowling is. We should go bowling, which actually, like, yeah, we should do a double date bowling. That would be so much fun. Once Achilles is better.
Yeah, I can just stand there and throw.
Yeah, that'll be good.
That's fine.
Yeah, but he went bowling, and then they got home, and they probably drank a little bit, and then he went to bed, and he got up the next day, just casual, leisurely morning, and then he realized, oh yeah, I actually only bought, 5 ties when I was supposed to buy 6 ties, so I gotta go out and buy a tie. I was like,
must be nice.
Must be nice.
That's like
so nice.
Hearing the guys' day just makes me mad. Because even the same with Mitch and the guys, like, what? They had a blast. Like, you asked Mitch, how was the day of your wedding? He's like, oh, it was great. I basically, woke up, me and you went and got coffee, which loved that, by the way. We brought Ruby and we went to a coffee shop that she knows the name of, by the way.
No, of course.
Because they give her tier A teas whenever we go there. But so we walked there, got coffee, walked back, spent a couple minutes together before I came over to do hair and makeup, which was fun. Don't get me wrong. It was a lot of fun.
You're good. I'm not taking that. You're good.
No, and I mean, it was such a chill day for us, too.
It was.
But
our Barbie Spotify playlist.
Yes. Oh, so good. There's like piano covers of the Barbie music.
So good.
So amazing.
So good.
So that was relaxing. Highly recommend.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so after I left to come here, the Mitch basically hung out until best man came over and the officiant came over. They all went and did a CrossFit workout, because of course they did.
Naturally.
If you know the three of them, one is a professional CrossFitter and the other two of them are avid CrossFitters.
Yeah, avid understatement, yeah.
So after they did that, they came home and they decided to play some guitar. At some point, they went to an Irish pub and got some burgers and just hung out. Then they came back home. They all can play guitar, so they just sat and played guitar. And then all of a sudden, Mitch looked at his watch and was like, I'm going to get married in less than an hour and I still haven't showered.
Oh, this doesn't even get to the best part of what happened, 20 minutes before the ceremony.
Oh, I guess I'll get to that now.
Yeah, that's a good part to
so
add in.
Basically, so he goes and showers, and then he realizes, I don't know how to tie a tie. Then so him and best man have to FaceTime best man's friend to tell him how to tie it. Oh no, they did a YouTube video for that.
Yeah.
Then they had, what they called the friend for was cologne. He didn't know how to spray cologne. Which...
1, 2, snap, snap, dab, dab.
Yeah, so they called, best man was like, I know someone. So he called someone on FaceTime, he's like, hey dude, how do we put cologne on? And so he walked him through all the steps on how to put cologne on.
Okay, that's so sweet. I'm so glad they double checked and they didn't treat it like Axe body spray in 7th or 8th grade. This is a very different getting ready process than what we went through.
Yeah. So they had to leave after that because we were coming over, so so both of us could change into dresses and meet up with my friend, who was also best man's sister, and which was awesome, by the way. She went out and bought a dress that day because she wasn't supposed to be in town. She just randomly came back a day early, or something happened, and she came back a day early. She went and bought a random dress that she found on a sales rack, matched Connie's dress to a T.
Yeah. So I was like, you have a wedding party. Yeah. Matching colors.
Very, very bizarre how that happened. Really cool, though.
Yeah, exact same shade of forest green.
Yeah.
Exact same shade.
It was amazing. And then so the guys left, and so the officiant and photographer ended up going to the spot to just kind of make sure that no one else was going to be there. And then best man and my husband went to a brewery because they're like, we're just going to have a beer, which is fine. But apparently, best man left his truck unlocked, and they both had their jackets in there. And best man had my wedding ring, my wedding band, in his pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So the truck got broken into, and they rummaged through a whole bunch of stuff. Didn't touch the 2 sports coats that were both, each of them individually were over $500.
Yeah.
I know.
What? But
yeah. I know Mitch's for sure was over 600. It was 600 something.
Dear Lord.
So he got that jacket, and I was with him. It was for his interview to get into a Master's of Nursing program, which he got in. Really, really good. But so I was there, and it was just custom tailored and whatnot. So it was uber expensive, and it was also probably from a place that you can think of. So even more expensive because it has the name to it.
Of course.
So,
but it looked great.
It looked great. He was in navy blue blazer and then a maroon tie, and then his vest and pants were charcoal, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not super dark, but...
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember them being complimentary clothes.
I can never remember. I always have to look at a picture because he tried so many on, and They all blur after a while.
Everything blurs after a while.
Even though there was one that you wore on that day, like, I still am picturing him in all the different ones.
Yep.
So, like, I can see the super dark one, and I can see the one that's, like, super, super light, and I think it was one that was kind of in the middle.
I'm trying to remember, because I saw pictures of all of them, too.
Yeah. Nope. I was like, on the off chance. On the off chance. Nope.
Oh, no, but yeah, they went through everything except the sports jackets.
Yeah, left the sports jackets. I mean, that's $1,000 right there, and you just left. But okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, the wedding rings were almost stolen 30 minutes before the ceremony.
Even less than, like...
Less than, yeah.
I remember, like, Mitch telling me, like, there would have been no time to go and find a store to just get a cheap ring. Like, there was no time. That's how close this was to our wedding time.
Yeah. I mean, all felt I just would have given you my ring. But, like, oh, I just remember the funny thing, though, because did he mention it before you guys got married?
After.
After.
It was after but the best man was like, no, we don't talk about that. We swore to each other we would never bring it up.
And then Mitch lasted, like, what, 5 minutes?
Not even, because we weren't even to the pictures after.
No. I just remember he said, oh, how did he phrase it? He was like, okay, I'm going to tell you something, and everything's okay, but you might be a little bit mad. And I was like, oh, no. They literally just got married. Oh, no. And then he's like, yeah, the wedding rings are almost stolen. And you and I were both like, you did fucking what?
Granted, I wasn't that mad because A, we had just got married.
Yeah.
And B, I had the wedding band. So, like, how mad could I be about this situation?
That's true. Yeah, if there's ever a time to tell your significant other something, right after you get married when endorphins are high or good, don't do that for, like, if you have debt or
no,
you're a product of incest or something. Like, discuss all that before. I feel like that's happened.
Probably. But, like, little things you're pretty safe on. Like that. In my books, I probably, even if you had told me before, I wouldn't have been mad. I'd be like, you have it now, right? Cool. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Don't care.
It was just the shock value of, one more time?
Yeah.
You did what?
Also, can I just throw in here, just because it popped in my head, when you're getting married, don't worry about fumbling about putting rings on and off in a certain amount of time.
Oh,
everyone expects everyone expects you to fumble, but, like, I remember, because I told Mitch, you have to take the engagement ring off and then put the wedding band on and then put the engagement ring back on. Well, he couldn't. I had him practice even, and he couldn't figure out how to take off the engagement ring.
No, John couldn't figure it out either. So we actually, which I've had way too much salt, so I'm stealing. But, like,
yours is one piece.
Yeah,
You
put the
fits.
engagement into the wedding band because
Yeah.
the wedding band goes top and bottom. So, like,
and it clicks in.
It clicks in, and we had tried it. It wasn't working. So I just took the full thing off and we put it inside of the little ring holders.
Box, yeah.
Which I've now seen the video. Like, maybe we could do a reactions video, but it's so cute. We had the other ring bearers. So they were 4.5 and 6.5. The half is very important.
Very, very cute.
They're so cute. Honestly, between them, their sister, and then the flower girl, they were the cutest ones there. Like, hands down. No one else compared.
My favorite part was I don't remember which one, but one of them wanted to give the box to Johnny.
The younger, or the smaller, or the older one?
Smaller.
Yeah.
Kept on wanting to give it to Johnny, and they're like, nope, you have to give it to best man.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the dad kneeled down next to him and was like, your one job is to get this ring box to him. And he's like, okay. And that whole time walking down the aisle, he was just dead eye staring at him.
Yes, that was the 4.5-year-old. It's so funny because his older brother was being a very good older brother, and he was watching his little brother the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't think the older one looked up once in the video. Like, literally the whole time, the older one is doing this.
He didn't want to be too far ahead.
He didn't, because he was holding one ring, and, you know, the younger one was holding the other ring.
Mm-hmm.
And they had them in ring boxes, of course.
Yeah.
But, like, the older one did not look away from his younger brother for a second.
No, he was being an amazing brother.
He was. It's so cute, because I think they were the slowest down the aisle.
Oh, they were, but it was so cute.
It was so cute, because they were so focused. They were like, this is our job. We're going to do it really well. And they did.
It's such an amazing job. Oh,
they're so cute.
Because I remember one of the run-throughs with that, the older one, like, zoomed past, and the little one's just, like, trotting along or whatever. And then the dad's like, oh, you gotta stay with him. And after he said that, he's like, okay, I can't look away.
The older one is very regimented, likes the rules. He's also so shy, so being with his younger brother helped.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but they were so cute.
Very, very cute.
They're so cute. Even our flower girl is my niece. She's my coworker's daughter, but I'm her tia Concha, so, like, I'm her aunt. And she was so funny, because she was asking, like, okay, what am I gonna do for, you know, being the flower girl? Do I get to, like, throw petals? What am I gonna do? I'm like, oh, well, the venue doesn't let us throw petals, which also, when you are looking at venues, be sure to ask a lot of questions, ranging from, you know, do you require security? Do you require wedding insurance? Get wedding insurance, by the way. We'll talk about that in a second. And some of them don't let you throw stuff or have anything in the aisle for safety reasons. And that was one. So when I told her, I'm like, no, you'll end up holding a bouquet. She goes, okay.
Okay.
When I told her that, she's like, that's okay. I was kind of wondering how flower petals would work if I just kind of, like, pick them up and go, yeet. I'm like, you can do that. You can say yeet. She goes, I thought it would be a good idea. I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea. She's 10, so there's a lot of internet speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's gotten into bruh lately. Bruh.
I feel like that was a thing when, how old? We would have been like 17, because my brother was 20.
Oh, it's
the one closest to age. Because he would come home from college and be like, sup, bruh.
Yeah.
Like, no. We don't talk to each other like that.
No, it's come back. It's totally come back.
Jeez. Oh, no. That brings back so many memories. The snapbacks and the basketball shorts and the bro tanks and the sunglasses backwards on the snapbacks.
Oh, and the puka shell necklaces. Yeah.
Oh. Bad memories.
So much come back. No, but I mean, it was funny, but she was happy about it. But yeah, there is, circling back to weddings versus elopements, there's a lot of stuff that you need to inform yourself of before you start talking to venues, because a good venue is going to make you very aware of the spots where you need to CYA, cover your ass. Not every venue is going to do that. So our venue was one of those where, honestly, the contract was so not in favor of the bride and the groom. God himself could come out of the sky, stomp on the venue, and we'd still be out of money. One of their employees could set the place on fire. We'd still be out of money.
Which is insane, by the way.
Oh, yeah. But that's like all the wedding contracts now. All of them. Where they have these force majeure clauses since COVID, where they're like government shutdown, any type of shutdown, doesn't matter. If you pay for this day, you do not get any of the money back. Maybe a portion of the refundable deposit if they offer it, but otherwise it's a huge gamble. So one of the things that one of the venues we had looked at, they had mentioned, they said, hey, we really, really suggest that you get wedding insurance. And I was like, okay.
Which, didn't even know that was a thing.
I work in insurance. I did not know that was a thing. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I did some digging, and there are certain sites that are good and some that are not good. We used WedSafe. That's not an endorsement or anything. That's not me telling you to use it. That's just what we use. Mm-hmm. And I had purchased a $2 million liquor liability policy, because in many places your liability, meaning the coverage where if someone sues you, that's your liability coverage that they're going after. Do not make any financial or insurance decisions based on what I am telling you about that. I have to put that disclaimer in there. Yeah. But I purchased a $2 million liquor liability policy, since your homeowner's liability usually does not extend as soon as liquor is involved. I also purchased up to $50,000 in vendor coverage. So if something happened where one of our vendors didn't show, the building at the venue burned down, if something happened to my wedding dress, Johnny's suit, or our rings, or my shoes, veil, or flowers, actually the day of the wedding, I could recoup money from that as well, which is awesome. So I think
definitely worth it. Probably.
Definitely worth it. I want to say my total cost was, I think it was about $500 for that, but
I mean, if something happened though,
$500 to buy $50,000 worth
drop
of
in the
coverage.
bucket.
Yeah, I'm like, no, that's much better. And again, it just gave that peace of mind as well, because you're spending all this money for one day, and you don't really want to be SOL if something happens. So having the ability to at least recoup part of that, because a lot of folks, especially with COVID, where I knew a bride who was supposed to get married August of 2020, really rough time. And they had a venue picked out in Minneapolis, like proper.
Yeah.
Not cheap.
No.
And
very expensive.
Very expensive.
If you get anywhere in the Twin, like the actual Twin Cities, I'm talking Minneapolis, St. Paul, you're spending at minimum, just for the venue, $40,000.
I was gonna say maybe 20, depending on the size and which one it is, but depends on the ones. They're definitely 40 to 60.
If you're talking I'm talking big venue, not brewery. Because you can get married at a brewery. We went to a brewery one day and they were having a wedding in their back room. But to do that, even that in the cities were, I think it was a minimum of $15,000. That's where it starts. That's their starter package.
Yeah. No, it's the wedding industry. You're paying to get robbed, basically. For a wonderful day, though.
But if you want to do big wedding, do whatever you want to do, not what other people want you to do.
Right. But again, and if you do want to do a big wedding or a small wedding and you want that peace of mind, I highly would recommend the wedding insurance, because my friend that was supposed to be married in August 2020, when everything was shut down, especially in the Twin Cities. So what they ended up doing is a very small wedding at her, I believe it was his or her grandparents' cabin, which is what she wanted originally.
Nice. Yeah.
But she also had a bunch of family members really pushing for the big wedding, which is how they ended up in it in the first place. So she got to have the wedding she wanted, but they had put deposits down because they require all the deposits in the wedding world. And it's not $100. Thousands. Depending on the place you're working with, and depending on the size of your invoice, it might be a 50% upfront deposit, 50% remainder due 2 weeks before wedding. It's
legit.
It's a lot. But so they didn't want to be out that money, understandably. Cause it was
if you're spending that much money, you might as well just go through with it.
Yeah, because they didn't have wedding insurance. There was no recouping anything. Yeah. So they ended up hosting actually a reception a year later.
That's fun.
And I felt so bad for her, because a lot of her family members did give her a ton of grief because they weren't at the ceremony. That was only 30 people, and they had isolation for 2 weeks prior, and they did mandatory testing because there were some older family members with major health issues, breathing health issues, if I recall, where they were no, that's why we kept it super small, and now we're hosting a party and we're telling you, don't bring gifts, just come and enjoy it. And people still got mad.
Oh, people will always get mad. I got a lot of mixed emotions when we told people.
Yeah, because you guys sent out a letter.
Yeah, so we got married in October of 22, and we didn't tell anybody. Well, no one knew that we were engaged aside from Connie and people in the wedding party and my classmates. It was literally the only people that knew. And I just kept pushing it off. We were honestly waiting for some pictures. Yeah. Mitch told his mom in a way that I'm not very happy about.
I didn't know about that until the open house at your party, by the way.
He didn't tell me he was going to do it. He just did it and was like, hey, by the way, I told my mom. And I'm like, what do you mean? He literally the day we got the pictures, so 2 weeks later, he texted a picture to his mom. No words, just texted the picture to his mom.
Of the two of you in your suit and wedding dress. Yep, no caption.
Yeah, nothing. But luckily, I mean, that's kind of, he's known in his family for just running off and doing some crazy thing and coming back and being like, hey, guess what I did?
Yeah, I can see that.
So, sorry.
I know, I'm hearing it too. He texted a picture, no caption.
Oh yeah, so texted a picture to his mom, no caption. She took it really well, honestly. She just
great.
She called him right away and was like, "You're in so much trouble." Just kidding. Congrats on saving $30,000.
Opposite reactions of parents. Let me tell you that.
Totally opposite.
Totally opposite.
Polar ends.
No, and like it was so interesting because I've talked with your parents leading up to your wedding.
Yeah.
I've also spoken with them, leading up to my wedding, and for them, as we mentioned earlier, weddings are not what they used to be even 5-10 years ago.
No, not even a little bit.
No, post-COVID, the rates of everything has just
skyrocketed.
Stupidly gone up. Yeah, stupidly gone up. So people think like, oh, $5,000, that should get you enough food for 150 people. No. McDonald's, maybe.
Try tripling that.
Yeah, no. It's insane. So I've had conversations with your parents now, also as a point to like drive home of like, Jess and Mitch are so smart, they eloped. Jess and Mitch are so smart, they eloped. But just like letting them know, I like, obviously I don't tell them absolutely everything about it because we're still in the processing planning stage, but just like what little I shared, especially with your dad at your open house.
Oh, he completely understood. The moment we gave him a reason, he understood.
He got it. But yeah, I was telling him the cost because I had just started getting quotes on the flowers.
Yeah.
The fake flowers. Yeah.
I'm sure his face, he just went pale, right? Like,
yeah. He just went,
what?
Oh my.
Yeah. No, it's something that they thought that, $5,000 would go super far because my brother that got married, he's 10 years older than me, and he got married when he was 21. So back then, $4,000 goes a long way.
That would be a significant portion of the wedding budget.
But now, no. But going back to, so no one really knew. We kept it hush-hush, not like purposefully. We just wanted to enjoy some time by ourselves, that I wasn't ready to start calling the siblings and being like, hey, we got married. You didn't know. You weren't invited. Sorry.
Yeah.
Very
worth noting, all her siblings had already been married.
Yes, I was the last one. So I have 3 older brothers, and I'm the youngest and the only girl. So, yeah, just, crushed all their hopes and dreams, but that's fine.
That's, you know what? They had fun at your next sibling's wedding.
Oh, yeah.
In 2019.
Yeah, I mean, they got 2 big weddings, and then the other 2 of us eloped, so.
Yeah.
50-50.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty darn good.
That is.
But so after I, finally got around to calling all of them and telling them, I made some cards, and I had to get, everybody's address. So I was like, oh, we're sending cards out this year. I specifically left it at that because everyone just filled in the blank thinking, oh, yeah, Christmas cards. It's around that time. So I got very total range of emotions on all spectrums of how people reacted when they opened a card that was wedding photos.
Yep.
I got many phone calls, many texts being like, you did what?
Not because they didn't like Mitch. Not at all.
No.
Literally, I think there's just this image of you with your family, at least from what I've picked up on, is that you were going to have the big church wedding.
Because that's what's been expected of me since I was born.
Okay.
That's
which,
why.
Again, it's kind of funny because I'm like, well, after talking with you for even like 30 minutes, someone should pick up that that's not what you should do or what you would do.
Yeah, like I would be so uncomfortable with that. There's no joke. Anybody that knows me would know I don't do well in that environment. I don't like it. I get so uncomfortable and I just shut down.
Yeah.
Like, even having the number of people that we did was great, but like there were some times that I was anxious because all eyes were on me and not that many eyes. Like,
it's a lot. It is a moment where you are so, as I mentioned earlier, you're just so fully aware of how you look.
Yeah.
Like, it's just absolute. You know everyone's looking at you because everyone looks at the bride.
Well, it's like I was, from the time, I was little, I was always told, like, you're going to wear my dress, your grandma's dress, because same dress. You're going to wear this dress, and you're going to have the big church wedding, and all of us are going to be here. And in addition to the father-daughter dance, you're going to do a dance with all your brothers. And there was a lot of expectations.
Yeah.
And I didn't want any part of that. And I know, I let them down in that, but I did what I wanted. And looking back, I wouldn't do it any other way.
No.
I wouldn't have added people just to please them, make them happy. Like, it's not their day. It's your day. Yeah.
Yep. And, like, no matter what type of wedding you have, you're going to love it. Like, with all the stress and the expense and everything that went into, our wedding, I still love it. Like, the day itself, I wouldn't have changed anything about that.
No, because it's your day.
It was our
your
day.
special day.
Right? And it was so nice because even though the 150 was the cut down, because we come from big families.
Both of you guys have huge families.
Yeah, well, we're Italians, so, like, that adds up.
And you all stay connected. No one leaves.
Yeah, to
a degree, but, like,
there is a more connection there than in other families.
You compare that to, like, my family or Mitchell's family, like, it's, yeah.
It is spread. Yeah, no, so there's more, which that was a hard thing, cutting a boundary on my dad's side of the family, because that's the Italian side. And I had to draw the line at my generation, because even doing my generation, that was, I think we had like 20 people. 2, 4, 5, we were between like 15 and 20, which when you have a 150 limit and you've got a bunch of people,
that's a lot of people.
That is a decent amount of people. And I was like, if I added the generation below me, because there was cousins, like, I would have loved to have invited.
Yeah.
That was going to be, no joke, another 30 people.
Yeah. Like, the biggest thing with having bigger weddings, at least to me, it's like, well, if you invite so-and-so, now you have to invite all of them. If you invite, let's just say if I were to invite one brother, I'd have to invite all brothers. And in addition, their spouses. And then, oh, I really like this one cousin. I would love for them to be here. Well, now I have to invite all the cousins. And
it adds into that. And I haven't gotten any blowback that I'm aware of, because I did invite one of my cousins who, she and I have been on Snapchat. We have a Snap streak of over 2,200 days.
Very impressive.
It's impressive. And, like, I know about her partner. I know about her son. I know about her dog. She knows about my husband. She knows about my dog. We know about each other's lives. Like, I know her well. She's the closest cousin to me on that side of the family, but she's very far, like, genetically removed.
Yeah.
So I invited her and her partner, but I didn't invite her siblings or her dad or her grandpa, because I'm like, if I start adding them, I have to add in them. But, like, I talk to her every single day.
Yeah. And I feel like there is a difference there. There
is. And so if anyone gave me flack, I was going to be like, yo, she knows more about me than all these other cousins.
Yeah. Whereas, like, if I were to start inviting cousins, well, I talk to them the same amount. Holidays, family gatherings, like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than, like, one, occasionally me and her just, like, randomly will message each other, and that's about it. But
yeah. And again, and that's not a bad thing.
No, not at all.
It's just you're learning to adjust. So if I were to redo my wedding, if I was able to start back over from being engaged, Would I have the exact same wedding? I don't know, honestly. Because the people that were there, I felt the love in that room.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
sure.
It was such a fun wedding.
It was, yeah.
Obviously, I'm biased.
I think it was a lot of fun. I might be biased, too.
That's true. But, like, even from our vendors, we had heard, like, no, people are bumping. They are loving this. You know, we had people travel from out of state. So it was people that they weren't showing up just because, like, hey, it's a free meal on a Saturday. It was people who were like, no, we're going to make sure to show up.
They
for
actually
December
wanted
wedding.
to be there.
Mm-hmm. Which is what made it all the more special, because it's going to table, which Johnny and I talked to almost all 150 guests.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of people to talk to in a couple hours, by the way.
That is a lot.
It is a lot. And we only missed a handful of them because they started to head out early because there was a little bit of snow. So, like, just wanting to be safe with the roads.
Which, by the way, your guys' wedding was in the beginning of December. And they got a light dusting of snow, which was her, like, one wish.
It was my one wish. I was like, honestly, grandpas and grandmas and everybody in heaven, just give us a little bit of snow for the ceremony, please. And
so we had snow for her wedding, but not for Christmas.
Not for Christmas. And the funnier part is, it started snowing right before the ceremony.
Yeah, it was like, it was so random. Like, stars aligned.
Stars aligned. It was perfect. It was so great. But, like, everyone wanted to be there. And so I don't want to, like, trade that memory, that day of that amazing
for anything.
Feeling.
Yeah.
But it's like, also, if I had the opportunity to, if we had to do another wedding, it would totally be an elopement.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I don't want to trade those wonderful memories because it was such a great day and it was so worth it, even all the stress and everything else. But if I'm talking to another bride, I'll be like, yo, I would highly suggest eloping, or even still give yourself like a hard 20, 30 people max and like cut that shit.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
hard.
Some people love, you know, like the 300 weddings, and that's what they want. If that's what you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not who we are.
No. And easily, my rough draft of the guest list, I stopped editing because I got over 270 people, and there was still more people to add.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my, because you don't realize how many people you know, and then how many people you know as a couple, how many people you know as family that, like we said, if you invite them, you got to make sure you invite them. Mm-hmm. Where, like, you start adding it up, and it's like, oh my God, this would be $100,000 wedding today. It is hard. You really have to balance between, you know, what's in your legitimate budget, not your, I wish my budget was.
Yeah.
And then also what's in your bandwidth, how much can you realistically handle? And if you know you can't handle a lot, work it into your budget to hire a wedding planner.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. If you can, yeah.
I wish I had done that. That would have saved so much. So much.
Yes, it would have.
Because a lot of it is also knowing the timing of, like, we started reaching out to hotels to try to get a hotel block in early August. Mm-hmm. Wedding was in second week of December. None of the hotels would get back to us. Like, they actually, one of them, my mom had called multiple times. And she called from a different phone. They picked up. There was a change in attitude when my mom said, I'm the one that's been calling, you know, I'm trying to get this block. Oh, we're not entirely sure. We'll have to have you call back later. Okay, bye. And then they didn't answer from that phone or her other phone. It was so bad. So we didn't end up getting a hotel block for people because we just couldn't get a hold of it.
Yeah.
And then after talking to the coordinator, she's like, oh, yeah, no, you really should have reached out on that in, like, December of last year in February. And she had mentioned it briefly in a conversation. But you were trying to absorb so much of the wedding stuff that someone will be like,
there's
oh,
too
I
much
told
stuff.
you this.
Yeah.
There's too much. So
write everything down for me so I can go through the list.
Right? Write it down. Or again, if you can afford it, get a wedding planner. Because they're the ones who knows, like, the wedding insurance. You're going to want to make sure you get that set up.
Yeah, they'll make sure that everything is good for you.
Everything is good. They'll let you know, like, okay, these are, you know, photographers that have the certain vibe that you're going for. Because not all photographers have the same editing style.
Nope.
And, like, I absolutely love the photographer that we went with, obviously. But there is a wedding photographer that, honestly, I would have loved to have gone with. She had done one of my college girlfriends' weddings. But she took over a year to get them photos. So, like, by that point, my friend had gotten pregnant shortly after the wedding, had given birth. And so, as an apology for how long it took, she gave him a free newborn shoot. So, like, that's how long it was taking. And I don't know how long it took to get the pictures back.
I wouldn't be okay with that.
I wouldn't, but the pictures were beautiful. The editing was beautiful. So, it's stuff like that. And then it's making sure, you know, that you have let your venue know about things that you want to schedule in. Like, we really wanted to make sure we scheduled in time for Johnny and I just to have a moment to ourselves after we got married.
Yep.
And, like, that was so great just to have fun. And we only took, like, 5 minutes because we're like, all right, let's go party. Like, let's go.
You just needed, like, a 2-second breather to sit, process. Okay, let's go.
That's what we did. And, like, it was great, but, like, it's those little things that you're not going to know until you're in it. And it's knowing about, like, hey, you can rent fake flowers instead of spending thousands on
Who would have guessed?
Right? It's knowing that, hey, you have to ask your caterer, do they provide linens and chargers, or are you going to have to rent those separately, which we did.
Yeah.
It's knowing, do you want actual, like, flatware and plates and everything, or do you want the plastic that looks really nice?
Yeah.
Does your venue allow that? Our venue did not. We had to use the real Chinaware. Even just picking out linens, having some...
That was so overwhelming. Oh my gosh.
We literally walked into a warehouse. Yeah. It was a warehouse.
Like rows and rows
of
everything.
And centerpieces. Where, like, I'm a very decisive person, and I'm normally really quick of, like it, don't like it, like it, don't.
No, not here.
I was overwhelmed. I got to the point where, like, I had my mom and Jess with me, but at one point when she was, like, laying out the sample linen, she's like, okay, we've got champagne, we've got cream, we've got off-white, we've got white. Which one do you want to do? I think my mom picked it out.
Your mom picked out, like, everything.
Yeah.
I think me and her went back and forth. Your mom and I, we pieced together a couple centerpieces, and we're like, there, do you like it? No? Okay, let's do this? Yes? Yeah? Cool. Awesome.
There was so much. Like, even with that one, I just remember thinking, like, okay, I'm a very decisive person. I'm very good with colors. Like, I should be okay. And then as we're walking to the back section of the warehouse to talk about the centerpieces, she's like, okay, so what type of hurricane do you want? Because it sounds like you want a hurricane. I'm like,
what is a hurricane?
I think I turned to you and went, what?
I was just as lost. Luckily, your mom knew, so
she did.
There was that.
Yeah, but I was like, oh yeah, that's common knowledge.
Yeah, totally know what you're saying.
Yeah. For those who don't know, a hurricane is the bowl that you put the candles or the water in. So, you know, you could just call it a bowl, but it's a hurricane.
No, it's a hurricane.
Sometimes it's raised up, sometimes it's not. You can have different sizes, different heights, different shapes, different inside materials, different arrangements. Fuck.
Very annoying. Sorry, in my opinion.
Very.
Not for me.
She was on top of it. Like, this is not a jab against Vaughn at
Oh, no.
all.
She did an amazing job.
Amazing.
She knows her stuff. Not our forte. Not our favorite thing.
No, it was just so much. And, like, ultimately, the decisions that she and my mom, because really, she and my mom, made, it looked amazing.
It was
Black
so pretty.
tablecloths, the linens, the chargers, it looked great. The centerpieces were perfect. I just had one inspo picture I showed her, and she just kind of ran from that.
Yeah.
Then I was like, okay, good, because I don't. Fuck.
Don't make me make one more decision, please.
That's where I was at. It was just insane. And, like, also to her credit, I think she was bulldozing over a lot more stuff than she normally would, because she had been up working a wedding 6 a.m. is when she had to be on site.
Yeah, because it was way up north.
Yeah. So she had to get up at God knows what hour to get there by 6 a.m. to do all this stuff. And then we were having this appointment at like 7:15 or something at night.
Something like that. It was pretty late.
It was late because that's just when she was going to be back from it.
Yeah.
Because she also had to go back and do the cleanup, and she had a wedding in between. So, like, she had a long day. But
sounds insane. I could not do that. That's, oh jeez, no.
The more she talked about her job, the more I was like, wow, I will never complain about my job wearing me out. Nope, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
That sounds like a nightmare. So,
It does. It was just so much. Again, she did a great job.
yeah.
But, like, those are the moments that you're not expecting where,
No.
like, at no point was I prepared for, oh, I'm going to walk in to pick out tablecloths. Like, cool.
Here's 10 million different shades of white.
And black. And chartreuse. And other colors.
Oh, but then once you pick the color, or the shade, then you had to pick what material you wanted.
Oh, I forgot about that. I blocked that out.
Yeah. I know, because we're like, oh, we settled on color. Yay, we're done. She's like, okay, now here's the other samples for you. What kind of fabric do you want? Do you want this? Do you want satin? Do you want blah, blah, blah? We're like, come again? I thought we were done.
I know. And again, she was doing her job, but, like, I was just like, oh, like, sure, let's do that one. She goes, okay, we can do that one, but the linen and the charger sample that you're doing, I don't know if it's going to lend towards that. I'm like, okay, then we'll choose whatever one she wants.
Yeah.
And, like, we did. And so she did a good job. She, like, laid out a sample for us, which was really nice.
Yeah.
But then she starts asking, like, okay, so how many of the 20-inch versus the 22? Do you want an 18-inch? And I'm like,
I forgot about that part.
What?
I blocked that one out.
I know. She's like, oh, the tables. And I'm like, you've worked at the venue before. You tell me.
And she's like, but you can have this length. Some people like it because of this. You can have this length because some people like it because of this. But I recommend, like, longer for these tables and shorter for these tables. And I'm like,
And then do you want to tie the taller tables with a sash? What color do you want that? We didn't do the tie. I got to the point where I was like,
I want to be done.
I don't care. Which thankfully my mom, again, could step in because she's been at events or she's hosted events her entire life of, like, large scale, from charity gala stuff to politician fundraising. Like, she has done all of that. So I'm like, great. Take over.
Yeah, she has a real true eye for it, to be completely honest. And if it was just me and you, oh, that would have been rough.
That would have been so bad. But we were also joking. We're like, oh, thank God my husband's not here for this. And thank God you and your husband didn't have to do this. Because our husband, oh, they would have just been pissed the whole time.
If I had to go through that for mine, I would have walked out. I would have walked out. I would not have made it through that.
That one took a lot.
Uh-huh.
And I think the reason that took so much just out of all of us is because it wasn't something that we were expecting was going to be difficult.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be so simple.
I know. That's why I invited just you and my mom. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, it'll be quick. You know, we're really quick at discerning shades and colors. That's
And I
normally
was
my
like,
forte.
oh, it'll be like 30 minutes tops.
Over an hour.
Gosh.
I think it was an hour and a half.
Did we over or underestimate that a lot?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Our
gosh.
predictions have never been more off than it was on expecting that appointment.
Yeah, no, that was bad.
So just be ready for that. Because there's a lot of random things where you just, again, as we mentioned earlier, you don't realize just how much energy things are going to take, so you overextend yourself with DIYs or anything else. Like, Jess and I did the save the dates.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I did the invitations by myself, but you and I did the save the dates, and that took forever. Even just, like, we printed labels for return address and to address.
That took an entire day.
That took I have a demon printer. Yeah.
The best way to summarize that, basically, it does what it wants,
Mm-hmm.
and even if you tell it to do something,
Mhm.
it sometimes just tells you no for no reason, or just doesn't acknowledge anything happening.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
It's what I imagine working with a trickster genie would be like. Like, you have to be really specific with what you say, or they're going to interpret it in the worst way possible.
Yeah.
That's my printer. And before you ask, yes, it was a bequeathed printer to me. It was not one that I went and bought myself.
It was free.
Thank me. It's from my family. But even getting that all together, that took us an entire day of typing up the addresses and then realizing as we got done on our last sheet, we went, oh, shit. We didn't put any of this in a spreadsheet for when we need these addresses
Yep.
for the invites, because the addresses I had were in emails, in notes, in text messages. Like, so we had to retype that entire address list, which at the time, oh, I didn't even talk about the 6-week drama. At the time, that guest list was 200.
Yep.
I misunderstood the venue capacity was only 150, and we didn't recognize this until 6 weeks before our wedding. I got a phone call from our coordinator saying, hey, your guest list has 200. And I went, yeah, that's the cut down. She goes, okay, you need to cut 25% of your list because we can only fit 150.
Yeah, that was a fun last minute
6 weeks
adjustment.
from the wedding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was not fun.
No. Thankfully, it ended up working out because I got home. I got that call on Monday at 10 a.m. and I called Johnny and my mom and just broke down. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Save the dates have gone out. A blessing in disguise is there was a delay in printing with the invites, so those hadn't gone out yet, which was its own stress. But I was just falling apart. And when I got home from work that day, everyone, like all our neighbors, were out in the neighborhood, and so they waved me over and they're like, hey, are you okay? And I'm like, no. So I told them what was happening, and all of them are married, like within the last 10 years. And they were like, hey, just put us down for the drinking and the dancing. Like, we won't come to the ceremony or the reception. And, you know, it's all good. We totally get it. So that took off like 25, 30 people. And then a few other people, I explained the situation, and, you know, they were okay. But that massively sucked. So double check all of your numbers with your venues.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
Yeah, it sucked. And
trying to disinvite people.
That was honestly one of the hardest situations I've ever been in, because it's against who I am as a person.
I know.
So that almost broke me.
I remember getting that phone call, and I got that phone call late.
Yeah, because I was just a mess, and I was with my neighbors for quite a few hours when I got home from work. So then when I came in here, that's when I called you.
So I was like, uh-oh. I remember looking at Mitch when I got the call, and like, Connie's calling me. He's like, that's late. I'm like, well, it's going to be something. You'll probably be asleep by the time we're done. Good night.
Yeah, I remember calling you, and I was just like absolutely dead and just numb at that point. And I'm like, okay, this is what it is. Fuck.
Yeah. Yikes.
That's not good.
Yeah. So double, triple, quadruple check, and make sure that you get verbal and written like numbers.
Yes. And then double check in with your coordinator and with your venue person if they're different people. Always check in with them. That was another thing because of how busy the venue was in the peak wedding season, which is between really like August and October. She was just busy. So she had been corresponding, the vendor had corresponded with me via email for certain things. And as I mentioned earlier, when you have that wedding email, there is so much spam that goes in there at all times. So I missed part of it. And then, you know, life just gets busy. Everything's happening. So we didn't connect until about 8 weeks out from the wedding is when we really like started going over details. And you're supposed to do that 4 months before your wedding. Like 4 months plus. So that was a bit on them. Also a large bit on me. Like, I acknowledge that, of course. So it's a lot of things will happen and you'll think you're on top of things. But get yourself a planner. Get yourself a really capable matron, maid of honor, partner, parent, whatever it is. You are going to need a support team.
Absolutely.
People or won't.
Yeah. Absolutely. Because even, like, I didn't have to go through all the venue stuff, but, like, I needed a lot of emotional support.
I was happy to be there for it.
Yeah, basically, I think at one point, I had 2 dresses. I'm like, I really like this one, but there's also this one. What are your thoughts? That was pretty much your input for that.
Yeah.
And you confirmed the one that I like. So I was like, okay, done. And then beyond that, it was just moral support to help me stay true to my decision that I had made.
Yes, you did have a lot of
back and forth.
A lot of back and forth and a lot of, you know, is this really what we want to do? Is this? So, which is a lot.
So one of my favorite things was your reveal to family and us, you know, when you're all ready. It was one of the sweetest moments ever, because I remember I was like, I don't remember what you had asked for, but you had asked for something. I was like, oh yeah, I got it. And then someone basically like shut that, one of your sisters or something.
No, it was the photographer, yeah.
Yeah, someone basically shut the door in my face. I'm like, she asked for something. And she's like, but you saw her. I'm like, I didn't see her. I put my hand through the door.
I know. That was the photographer. She was on top of that.
Oh, gosh. I was like, I don't know what's happening. That's fine. But that was such a sweet moment to have, like with your family, with us, just like that first initial reveal. It was truly, truly amazing.
Yeah, I did love that part.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that was one of mine, doing that first look with all the bridesmaids, with my parents, with my in-laws, with my sister and brother-in-law, and the nephews and nieces who had been part of the wedding. Like that was a great moment. I also, honestly, I didn't think I was gonna like this much. One of my favorite things was doing the dances. Like,
it was really, that was my second thing. The dances were really cute. Like your guys' music choice too was on par.
That was, my dad and I danced to Mambo Italiano by Dean Martin, which was so upbeat, so fun. And then my husband and his mom danced to Johnny Be Good, because his name is Johnny.
Yeah.
And just that high upbeat energy really set the tone for it's party time.
I also love that you guys didn't do the whole song. Because some people do the whole songs and you're like, okay, this is getting kind of long.
Like, we apparently did the entire Mambo Italiano, but it's a 2.5 minute song maybe. It's a short song. I think it actually might be 2:15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Johnny, I know they didn't do the same thing, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. No. And even the, because our first dance was You Are My Everything. I think it was the Michael Bublé cover. We cut that one down too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like that was fun. Like honestly, all of it, just the day of itself was really fun.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was a good wedding.
And then for your wedding, I just loved how chill and how intimate it was.
Yeah.
Like honestly,
yeah,
that was so nice. Just having that coffee date in the morning with you and Mitch, just getting to enjoy that. And then having that chill, easy, get ready here. And then the chill, easy, WALK up to the site, and just having it be what you wanted, that small but meaningful ceremony.
Yeah.
Like that, I love that.
Yeah. It was exactly how I pictured it, exactly how I wanted it to go. Just very relaxed.
It was. Yeah. Honestly, I think you were definitely relaxed. I was more stressed for your wedding than you were.
Probably, but
I was, but the whole time I'm like, she needs to be relaxed, so I have to anticipate everything else. Run interception for interfering family. Yes.
That was her job, for sure.
She said with love.
Yeah. Well, she had to be a lookout, because I was worried that certain people would put connections together and figure things out, and I wasn't okay with that. And we've had a lot of boundary issues, which will be a whole topic in itself. But so I wanted to make sure that my boundaries were being respected. And so Connie was on the lookout for people.
I got to be a bouncer.
Yeah.
Well,
no one showed up.
I know.
No one showed up.
I was like, oh, it's so unlikely. But God, that would have been great. You just see me running with someone over my shoulder in my long floor-length dress, hiked up with my tennis shoes.
Can I say my favorite part of both of our weddings is that we wore tennis shoes?
We did. So comfy. Jess got married in this gorgeous pair of light blue Vans.
Yeah.
Loved those. And then I got married in white Nike Air Force Ones.
Amazing.
So comfortable.
Comfortable, practical. What more can you ask for, really?
Yeah. And leaving off on that last tip, if you can make it work and you're comfortable with it, highly recommend comfortable shoes.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, you're on your feet all day.
Yeah.
You're in my case, dancing with my dad. I almost ate it multiple times because of my dress length.
Now imagine trying to do that in heels.
I would have died.
Yeah.
Like, I think my dad might have had a bruise on his forearm because I was just gripping so hard because I was like, I'm going to fall. He's like, I got you. I'm like, keep smiling.
You did a really good job.
Thank you.
Both of you guys did a really good job.
We're like, acting, yay. No, it was really fun. But again, comfortable shoes, man, because
Worth it.
worth it. And lidocaine spray. Oh, I forgot about that. That's also worth it because sometimes your dress, it hurts.
Yep.
It's got sparkles, it hurts.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. But other than that,
So, what is one thing you would do different if you could with your wedding?
ooh. Day of, I wouldn't change, but I would change my prep leading up to.
Okay.
I would take better care of my mental and physical health because that's what suffered. Also, there was that medication change that
Yeah.
came like right 6 months before the wedding, which was
Yeah.
a horrible time for that.
Really, really bad timing.
Worst timing for
Really,
that.
really bad.
And I was dealing with all the side effects, even up and through the wedding.
Yeah.
That would have been what I would have done is really take time to,
Focus on you and your health.
Yeah.
For sure.
trying to bring my stress down so I'm not more or less breaking down every week.
It got bad there for a minute.
It got really bad there, yeah. But everything's fine now. Everything's great now.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Never better.
Even my sisters I had dinner with my mom and sisters earlier this week, and they're like, yeah, you're a lot less stressed. Like, you can tell. And I'm like, oh.
You're getting back to you now.
I am.
It's not a wedding consuming you whole.
Yes. Now the only thing hanging over my head is I haven't finished the thank you notes.
I still haven't finished thank you notes from our 1 year anniversary party / reception, whatever you want to call it. So
basically on a filming day, you should bring your cards and I'll get out mine and we'll just, during one of our charging breaks,
yeah,
we'll just knock those out.
probably be a good idea because, granted, we did tell everyone, do not bring anything. We do not want anything. And I did know people would bring cards, but I wasn't actually expecting anybody to actually get us stuff. So
And they did.
they did.
Yeah.
They did. Some really thoughtful gifts, some really, really sweet gifts. But I am really bad at procrastinating, and that has not been on the top of my to-do list. For most of my winter break from school, this has been my to-do list. This was Connie and Johnny's wedding present from me.
Yeah, you can't see it fully on the screen, but it is a massive blanket.
Way bigger than I intended it to be.
Like, it's so comfortable.
Nice and warm, too, by the way.
Very. I've already done some naps under it.
I will never do this stitch again in my life using this yarn.
Yeah, looks great.
Oh, yeah, turned out amazing. It's beautiful. Boy, was it a pain in the butt, though. Said with love.
Said with love. So, what you would change for my wedding is how big that was. What would you change for yours if you would?
The only thing that I would change, like, nothing about the day. Again, it was a perfect day in my opinion. Like, everything went well. The only thing that I would change is keeping my set boundaries and not letting outside opinions affect my decision or affect my way of thinking. I feel like my brain is easily manipulated to think a different way if people are in distress. And when I have people, raising their voices and crying and, just exhibiting all these super high emotions, I can't even think of what I want because I want to help the other person. It's been one of my biggest flaws, but I've gotten better. I've gotten a lot better. But just keeping that boundary clear from the get-go, like, it still would have been hard, but there wouldn't have been that back and forth. Because there was a lot of back and forth for quite a while.
Yeah, it may have been a 2-week engagement, but because you had, started setting parameters before that, so expectations were managed, you had to deal with it for a lot longer.
Yeah. So if I just would have been consistent from day one, I feel like it would have been, instead of me being like, well, I'll think about it. That was like the extent that I went to, was I'll think about it. I'll talk with Mitch about it. If I just would have been, nope, this is what we're doing, it would have probably gone a lot easier.
There still would have been pushback because,
oh, for sure.
you know, but
yeah, that's the only thing that I would do differently.
Yeah. All in all, I mean, you've heard a little bit from both of us. Weddings are as unique as the people getting married.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be so radically different. And when you come together with your spouse, your engaged fiance, you're going to start learning a lot of things about each other, about what you truly like, what you are comfortable with. And it's really important to lean into those conversations so that you don't start going in different directions unintentionally.
Yes.
Which will make everything harder. But just take the time to really sit and think about what you want. Don't feel like as soon as you have the ring on your finger, you need to have a contract signed for a venue. Take your time.
Yes. Take your time. As much or little as you want.
Exactly. And ask for advice from someone you like or don't like if you want to have a power trip moment and shut them down.
You know, I did ask for, I think I told you this, one of my professors noticed that I was mentally just like draining. And he asked me what was going on, and he asked me like how the engagement was going, blah, 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 because he noticed there was all of a sudden a ring on my finger. And so I told him like what my dilemma was. And I remember he's just like, okay, well, let's talk about it. What is the pro for this? What is the con for this? What do you truly want? Is that different from what you think you should do? And I was like, wow, you just, like, he just made everything so clear for me.
As expected of an MBA professor.
One of my favorite professors, for sure, hands down.
He gave good advice. And yeah, that's it. Chalk up your pros, chalk up your cons, take your time, figure out what you want, and just know that at the end of the day, whatever wedding you have, barring a complete disaster, which is unlikely, you're going to love the wedding that you have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much as we delved into the chaos and the randomness this episode. We'd love to hear what you guys think on weddings versus elopements, even just the wedding industry as a whole, because it's polarizing.
Yeah, absolutely. So leave some comments. We will definitely check out as many as we can. We also have a TikTok called Chaos Chronicles Podcast, or at the same. So Chaos Chronicles Podcast.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's all we've got for you guys. Well, again, thank you. I'm Connie.
I'm Jess.
And this is Chaos Chronicles.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah. Adios.